Welcome to the Growth Beyond Limits podcast, a dynamic podcast designed for aspiring entrepreneurs and early stage business owners aiming to reach their first million. Each episode features high impact conversations with business leaders, innovators, and personal development experts who share actionable insights to fuel both professional and personal growth. Growth Beyond Limits. Go where you need to be. Hey, welcome to another episode of Growth Beyond Limits podcast. This is a space where we help entrepreneurs, business leaders, organizational leaders learn how to build, position your business to grow, to scale, and to achieve the goals that you have. We invite thought leaders, industry leaders, successful people to share with you principles and nuggets on how to grow your business or start a new business. And today I have the esteemed privilege of having with us one of the most successful attorneys in our area, if not in the state of Florida or around the country, the incomparable Mr. Joe North, who is the founder and CEO and lead attorney of the Joe North Law Firm. And I'm going to go ahead and let him present himself, but I can tell you what you're going to get today is worth, just the time that you're going to invest. Listen to this podcast. He comes with over 36 years of being a successful attorney, and 30 of those has been in his own practice. So, Mr. North, welcome to the Growth Beyond Limits podcast. So tell us a little bit about who's this great entrepreneur giant that we have sitting here in this room today.
Well, I keep looking over my shoulder wondering who is Dr.Phil talking about? But I'll go with that. But I'm Joe North. I'm a lawyer here in Fort Myers, Florida, and I call myself a lawyer here in Dunbar because that's where I was born and raised. And they say there is no place like home. And I have found that to be true for me because I have thoroughly enjoyed practicing law here in Dunbar, here in the city of Fort Myers, and here in Southwest Florida. So my journey is that, again, I was born and raised here. I went to college at the Citadel up in Charleston, South Carolina, which is a military college. After graduating from there, I enrolled in law school at Florida State University, College of Law. And after graduating from law school, I came home, and that was back in 1990. I worked with a big firm here locally doing workers' compensation. And then, because I always wanted to help people and not represent corporations, because that's what I was doing for the first 5-6 years of my practice, I opened up the North Law Firm.
Right.
And since then, I've only been representing people, individuals, and I have just found it to be not just a blessing for me, but a blessing to others. So what we do is we handle all types of accident and injury cases on a daily basis. We don't do anything else. That's it.
Yeah. So you have clarity on what you do. And we talked about it in one of our episodes as finding your purpose, and that fuels your passion.
Right.
And so today we're going to talk about what does it take to build a thriving business? Obviously, we're going to use your law firm, but we're not going to talk about law. Okay. I mean, we'll probably go in and out of that. But what does it take to build a thriving business? So we want to think being a great lawyer is one thing, right? But building a practice that thrives is a whole nother thing, because it's different skill set to build something and not just be someone while you're building it. So we're going to talk about that. And so today we're going to talk about what it takes to build a successful business, one that's profitable, respectable, sustainable, and aligned with the life that you want. So tell us a little bit, Mr. North, of how.
Call me Joe, please.
Just call you Joe?
Yes, sir.
All right. What would you share with the audience that it takes to build the foundation of something that is profitable, respectable, and reputable? Give us some nuggets on what that takes.
Okay, well, I say it first starts with doing something that you enjoy. Don't worry about the money. I know everybody wants to make money, but first you have to find a career, an occupation, a job that you enjoy, that you don't mind getting up and going to every day when it's not really work. Because if you do that, you don't mind putting in the time. From the first time I started practicing law back in 1990, I've always been one of those people who's the first one in the office, last one to leave.
Wow.
And that's not just rhetoric. That is true. I remember when I was working for a big firm downtown, we had like 40, 45 lawyers. I would still be the first one in the morning.
Wow.
And I remember having to park in a parking garage downtown and literally walking in the middle of the street from the parking garage to the office because I just wanted to make sure that I was safe. And that's what I did every morning. And I'm still the first one in the office now.
Even though you have your own law firm and you can come in whatever you want.
That's right. I'm
Right.
the first one in, but I can tell you I'm not the last one to leave anymore. Guess who is?
Your son?
My son. So,
Yeah.
Joseph, he gets in about 7:30 or 8, but I don't know what time he leaves. He's always there when I leave, and he's there on weekends
Wow.
as well. And I think that he has found what's true for me is true for him, and that is just doing something that you love. And if you love it, it's not work.
Yeah. So I think a lot of times what a lot of entrepreneurs or people who want to be successful fail to understand is that you have to marry passion to a good work ethic.
Yes.
Because if you're passionate about something, but you have poor work ethic, poor habits, then your passion becomes something that's just dormant and you never really benefit from it.
Mhm.
So I think for what I'm hearing Joe say, I like to call him Mr. North because I just want to respect, but I think understanding that to be successful, you cannot be lazy and you cannot be passive,
Mhm.
and you have to develop those habits that are going to sustain you when human nature wants to kick in, which is, let me sleep an extra hour, let me take an extra day off.
Mhm.
So you're saying work ethic and discovering your why are some of the
Yes.
foundational things to building a successful business. So talk to me a little bit, or talk to our audience a little bit about in the area of law, because there's a lot of competition.
Okay.
How do you separate yourself from the competition? Because there's a lot of people doing what you're doing.
Yes. And, all you got to do is look at TV. You see commercials for lawyers
Yeah.
on every show.
Now on social media too.
Social media, the billboards around town, the buses. So how do we separate ourselves? I say just being involved in the community.
Mm.
And it's something that's really come naturally to us. It's something that we want to do. It's something that we enjoy doing. But what we have found is that there are not a lot of other law firms doing that.
Right.
And because of that, we found that people look at us as the quote unquote community lawyers.
Exactly.
And we get a lot of business from that just because we are out in the community. When people go to events, whether it be a gala or a wedding or a baseball game, football game, if they see us out in the community, they know that they can trust us.
Yes.
And if they're not seeing those other lawyers out there, they don't know them.
Exactly.
So they're not going to call them in their time of need.
Yeah. So I like the fact you said that, because one of the things I talk to, I do coaching with entrepreneurs. That's part of, besides the other work that I do business coaching, executive coaching.
Right.
And I help entrepreneurs, people who's trying to get to their first million,
Okay.
To figure out generosity and visibility are two important things when you want to build a business that people feel connected to.
Mhm.
Number one, you're generous with your time.
Yes.
And you help support community initiatives, and you're visible. You're not just here when you need to make a transaction,
Right.
but you create that visibility.
Right.
So let's talk real quickly, Joe, about what specialization does someone need in order to build something faster? When I say special, like there's a lot of things you could do in the law, but how did you figure out you want to streamline just this? What fed that ability to streamline what you did? Because a lot of leaders don't achieve things because they're so gifted and they chase opportunities and they're not specific in what they want to do.
Well, there are no shortcuts. You got to put in the time. So in terms of streamlining, I would say just be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
When you get on that road, stay on that road.
Okay.
And so that's how I would define streamlining in terms of a successful career in law. It may take a while to get that first case, those first 10 cases, those first 100 cases. At our firm, we've represented tens of thousands of people over the years.
Right.
Because we've been doing it a long time.
Yeah, for doing it for 30 years, you have to do what you're doing.
But you don't get that in year one.
Yes.
It just takes a while. And I look at it, in fact, we often call it the Christmas tree approach. You might ask, what's the Christmas tree approach?
Yeah, talk about it, yeah.
Well, at the top of a Christmas tree, you got just one thing up there, right? One leaf. But then it spreads out into 2 or 3 or 4. And then it spreads out into 8 or 16.
Wow.
And it just keeps going. By the time you get to the bottom, you've got a lot of branches. So if we do right by a client, that client will come back to us if, God forbid, they're involved in something else.
Right.
But they're also going to tell other people about us.
Right.
So it branches out and it branches out and it branches out to the point that you're representing the whole community because everybody trusts you.
Wow.
But in year one or day one is just the top of that tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think I've ever heard the idea of a Christmas tree in business, but I'm going to take that because it's very important that you're specific. It's better to do one thing well than to try to do a lot of other things, right? And I think for a lot of businesses that don't ever achieve their maximum potential is that they become distracted with opportunities. And one of the things I teach business owners, not every opportunity is an obligation.
Yes.
And so don't feel obliged just because this looks like an opportunity. It may be good, but it may not be what you need to do during this time because timing is everything.
Correct.
And having that, I would say, we talk about emotional intelligence, but having business intelligence, this is the right time to do this. So let's talk real quickly about how do you create reputation as a cornerstone of your industry or your business or any business? How does reputation become a cornerstone?
You let your word be your bond.
Okay.
If you say something, then you got to mean it and people can rely upon it.
Okay.
And communicate. Even if what you have to tell someone is bad news, it's not what that person may want to hear, you cannot ghost them. You cannot go radio silent. Go ahead and communicate. Because people just want to know that you're listening, that you're hearing them.
Yeah.
Even if what you're giving back is not exactly what they want to hear, let it flow. Let that communication go.
Yeah, honesty is very important. I think a lot of times people, with the fear of losing a sale or losing a client, they tend to compromise their integrity.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And they bend, core values in order to make a dollar. You may make that dollar, but you're going to lose that client and their referrals. So if I could speak to business owners and organizational leaders, it's very important that you respect your word and you only promise what you intend to deliver.
Yes.
Because a lot of times we tend to overpromise and don't even deliver, not even underdeliver. We just don't deliver. Like you start a job and you took on 3 other jobs. You don't have the manpower. Now you're lying to the client. If you're a mechanic, you told them the car's going to be ready in 3 days and it's a week now. So you're saying part of your recipe for success is being honest, being straightforward.
Yes.
Even if it's not pleasant.
Yep.
But at least you guarded your integrity and your reputation.
Yep. In fact, I'm glad you said that the way you said it because it brings back something that my dad would always tell me. Because my dad, when I was growing up, he did construction work, but he was also a handyman. And he would go to someone's house and they would ask him, well, can you fix this for me or do that? And he would say yes. And they said, well, can you do it by such and such date? And he would tell them, no, I can't do it by that date, but I can tell you when I can have it done.
Right.
And he said the reason he always did it that way is because if you don't do it by the day that you said you're going to do it, they're going to hold it against you.
Exactly.
But they respect you when you tell them, no, I need a couple more days, and you get it done in a couple more days.
Exactly.
And I take that with me today.
Wow.
If you tell someone something, you just got to make sure you deliver what you're telling them you're going to deliver.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good. So, Joe, let me talk to you real quickly about defining your niche and your ideal client. Because every business owner, one of the things that they need to learn from day one, in one of us, we talk about building your brand, and we talked about finding that avatar. Who is your ideal client? So what are some common mistakes that some people make in trying to serve everyone? Because here's what I say. If you advertise to everyone, you're advertising to no one. Right? If you try to reach everyone, and I tell my clients this all the time, you can't serve everyone because that's not your ideal client. Like, for example, certain airlines, they cater to a certain demographic. I'm not going to name them on this podcast. Again, they're not praying us to name them, but certain low-cost airline, You're probably going to be delayed.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably going to have an uncomfortable seat,
Yep.
and the experience is not going to be. So how do you find your ideal client
Well,
or your niche?
it's something that LeBron James has said.
The great LeBron James?
The great LeBron James.
You know, LeBron and I, we have issues, but okay, go ahead. Because he left Miami.
Right.
Yeah, okay, all right. And he went back to Cleveland. So.
Right. And I'm a big Miami Heat fan, but LeBron James
Come on.
says, keep the main thing the main thing. I subscribe to that. So there used to be a time, for example, that doctors did everything. You know, going back in the day, the same doctor that delivered a baby would also fix your broken leg.
Right.
Or cure the flu for you. And the same thing with law. In law, you cannot have someone who's handling your personal injury case also handle your criminal case or do a real estate matter for you. In fact, with criminal, I always tell people who call, I couldn't get you out of jail if your time was up. You don't want me, but I got somebody that can help you.
Right.
And then I refer them to the right person.
Right.
You know, so I say, if you're going to be good at something, you got to do it day in, day out, and do just that. Don't try to do everything, because to your point, if you try to do everything, you're not going to do it well.
Right.
But if you do one thing, you can create expertise, specialization, and you can be the best that anyone could ever expect in that type of law.
Yeah. So you create almost a brand. And in one of the episodes we talk about your brand is a promise. So when
brand
someone,
is a promise. I like that.
Yeah, a brand is a promise. So you certain hotels you go to, certain clothing line that you buy it because you know they're going to be consistent. And if they're not consistent, they're going to make it right. And I think a lot of times, a lot of small businesses or middle type businesses fail because they don't recognize how important it is to streamline, to find your client, even if your price point is a little uncomfortable at first, but if you're consistent, that client will find you and they'll appreciate, and they'll pay more because they're expecting an experience, right?
Yeah.
So when you tell people, here's what's going to cost me to represent you, do they balk at you or do they say, okay?
Well, the beauty in the type of work I do is my clients never pay anything out of pocket.
Okay.
I get paid only if I recover for my client. So my client can come to me and not have to worry about paying the prosecution costs or the litigation costs. I front all of that. And I get reimbursed only when we get a recovery at the end.
So what happens if you don't get a recovery?
I eat it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're saying as a business owner sometimes, to keep your niche, to keep your brand, you're going to have to take a loss sometimes in order to maintain.
Well,
like, let's if you priced a job,
right,
and you underpriced it, you can't come back to the client and say, well, pay me more because you should have done your homework.
Correct.
Okay.
No, so with our law firm, if we have to spend $10,000, $15,000 to get the case from, accident to completion, we'll do that. It's rare that we don't recover for the client.
You wouldn't be successful for 30 years if you weren't recovering.
Right. So it's rare that we don't get reimbursed for those costs. But in the off chance that we don't recover for the client, we eat those costs.
And you have that. Do you have that built into your KPIs, your dashboard? Like you have a certain amount that's allocated to event if you don't, right? Because that's
something that I've taught my son, and he subscribes to it now, is when we spend money on these cases, as the case is going on, we don't think about it. We forget about it. So as an example, if I have to hire an expert and that expert is sending me an invoice for $7,500 in a case, I stroke the check and I don't think about it anymore. It's logged, but I'm not thinking about it. I'm not working on the case thinking, I got to get that $7,500.
Right. You're not distracted by that.
Right. Because then you're not going to do the best job that you can do for the client. Now, when the case is over, then we look to the logs and see how much money we spent. And sometimes I'm surprised at the number that we spent on the case. I'm thinking, I didn't know we had spent that much, but it is what it is. But we get reimbursed. But fortunately, what we receive for the client is large enough that the client's not going to feel it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm hearing a lot of good wisdom as far as how do you build a reputation? How do you build a brand? You have to be willing to make certain sacrifices
Yep.
and have systems in place, structure in place, where you can operate without the distraction of worrying about processes.
Correct.
Wow. So let's talk about systems real quick, because a lot of businesses, the problem with a lot of creative people is that they're creative, but they're not strategic.
Okay.
They can come up with an idea, come up with something that they want to do, but they don't have systems in place. They don't have, SOPs, standard operating procedures. They don't have any type of, framework, either a CRM system or follow up. In your experience of over 36 years of being successful at what you do, what systems did you put in place to maintain such longevity?
Well, I'm going to get a little philosophical.
Please do.
Here.
I'm talking to a lawyer, so I expect that. I was waiting for that to come.
And maybe even a little religious.
Okay.
I'm a man of faith, like
Okay.
you and like Chris Burford. And I can tell you that from the time I stepped out and opened my own firm, I stepped out on faith.
Okay.
Okay. And things have fallen into place. And I know that they've fallen into place only because of God putting them in place
Right.
for me. So when I started out, I didn't have any cases because I left the firm, left all those cases there. So I started out 0 cases.
You did the get out the boat type thing. Just get out the boat.
Yep. Put everything on credit cards. And I just kind of floated it out there. So in 91, a lady came to work with me as a secretary. And she's still with me today.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Not 91, I'm sorry, 97.
Yeah.
97, Cheryl Gephardt. And she left a large firm with 2 small kids at home to come and work with little old me.
Wow.
I know that she was God sent.
Yeah.
And her husband is our IT person. So if 2 o'clock in the morning, we're having a problem with the computer, hey, Chris, I need you to come over here. Boom, he's there. And I have that because of Cheryl, because God sent her to me.
Yeah.
In 96, I asked my mom and dad, hey, I want to buy a billboard to advertise what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So we bought the billboard at the corner of MLK and Shoemaker, our very first billboard. It's still there today. Yeah. I know I got a lot of billboards around town, but that billboard would never, ever move.
You've had that billboard since 1997?
96.
96?
That billboard.
That same billboard?
That same billboard.
Wow.
Yeah. And it will never, ever move. That's our staple. All right. But I didn't really know about marketing. I'm just trying to put my foot in the water, get out there, right? But God will speak to you, not out loud, but just in here, okay? And he told me to do that. And over the last, 30 years, we've been going further and further and further with marketing.
Right.
So I say this, to answer your question, that sometimes in terms of a strategy, it's not something that you sit down in the middle of the night and you strategize and it comes to you. Sometimes it comes to you through the Holy Spirit.
Right.
And that's what's been the case for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So your faith is a big part
most definitely
of what has helped you get to where you get to.
Yes.
So let's talk about the person who's probably not a believer, not a Christian.
Okay.
What would you say to them? Because that's good for those of us who traffic in the sacred space.
Right.
But what about that person who says, well, okay, I don't know anything about the Holy Spirit, but give me a practical business strategy.
All right. I would say, do not be afraid to give. But give what? As you were talking about before, you got to give of your time, your resources, and your talents.
Right.
Because sometimes you may do a certain work and not get paid for it at that moment. But I guarantee you'll be paid for it down the road by either that person or someone else. Give of your resources, your money. My parents, growing up, we were not rich.
Right.
Okay. But they worked hard. And I can tell you that they were givers, both of them.
Right.
And because they were givers, things always came to them. And I watched that. So even if you're not a believer, if you're not a person of faith, I say be generous in your time, your resources, and your talents, and you'll be surprised at how so much comes back to you. Try it.
Yeah. So yeah, you're building generosity as part of your system. Meaning that you're outward focused. A lot of business owners, especially because money is very. I want you guys to listen. Money is extremely dangerous when you don't build the right relationship with it. And a lot of people want to have money, but they haven't built a relationship with money. Makes me what I mean by that. Building a relationship with money means understand money is meant to be fluid. It's meant to be exchanged. It's meant to come and go. And as a business owner, if you are a hoarder, if you are just a keeper, you don't create that relationship with money where it comes and it goes. And a lot of people who are most people who are successful, I promise you, if you ask 90% of people who are successful, they will tell you philanthropy is one of their most important strategies to being successful. So that means you build that into your budget. I'm sure you do. I know you sponsor a lot of things around town.
Yeah.
I know you're known as a very generous man, which I appreciate, by the way.
Thank you.
And thank you for all that you do in the community. But that's part of your strategy.
Strategy, okay, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, it's part of your strategy. No, you're not doing it intentionally, but it's built in.
Correct.
Your DNA.
Yes. Correct, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So we got a lot more to talk about, but I want to pivot a little bit to this idea of how do you avoid burnout as a successful business person? Because one of the things that burnout is not doing too much work, is doing too much of anything. How do you avoid burnout? Because a lot of people burn out and they never finish their race. How have you avoided burnout?
Well, my wife and I take vacations. We are committed to taking at least one vacation every year. And when I say take a vacation, we really take a vacation.
Yeah.
We look at it as we work hard, so we play hard.
Okay.
So we'll go. It took me a while to learn this.
Okay.
Early on, if I went away for 3 days, that was it. But I learned, no, I gotta, refresh. And it takes longer than 3 days to refresh. So now we'll go for a week.
Okay. I thought you were saying 2 weeks.
No. So I'm working up to that. The last time we went to Italy, and we were gone not quite 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks.
Okay.
But Bonita has been a large part of that, where she's got me out of the mold of just going away for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
But I have found that has been so good for me, because when I come back, I am ready and raring to go, because I've had that time away.
Yeah.
So it's important to take time away and just, be by yourself or be with your spouse.
Yeah, there's a little principle I share with leaders in both the sacred space and the marketplace. I talk about, diverting daily. That means when you get home, divert from what you just did for 9 or 12 hours.
Yeah.
Right? Rest weekly, which means you have a day off, right? Retreat quarterly, which means every 3 months you take a retreat, whether it's 3 or 4 days, you go and you abandon annually. All right, which means
that.
Yeah. You want me to say it again?
Yes.
So divert daily, right? So find something that has nothing to do with what you just did for 12 hours, right?
Okay.
Rest weekly, have a day off where you turn your phone off, you turn social media off, and you're just being present with yourself. Retreat quarterly. So that means go away for 3 or 4 days. It could be a staycation, or it could be somewhere. If you live in a state like Florida, there's many different parts. Or go to the Caribbean, take a, and then abandon annually. And when you do that, you do 3 things. You change pace, place, and face.
Okay.
All right. So you change the location. Nobody knows you're there. You slow down. You don't have an excursion for every day that you're there. Just chill. And then change faces, meet new people.
Yes.
And because for me, most successful leaders stay in the game because they've learned the discipline of resting. Now, I had to learn this because I was a workaholic. I grew up around a mom that made me feel like resting was laziness. And so that was ingrained in me that you have to work.
Right.
But my staff at our church began to help me understand self-care is as much important as being successful at the next event. So
Okay.
I tell all leaders this, you need to make time for yourself because time is a valuable resource and it's all that you have.
Yeah, and you never get it back.
And you never get it back. You can make more money, you can make more friends, but you never get more time.
That's right.
So, Joe, as we close out, really, what does success look like outside of your career?
You mean like after the career is over?
Yeah, like when you're done, what does success look like?
Well,
that's a loaded question.
No, but it's a very good question. And I don't know that the career will ever be completely over. I might slow down.
Okay.
But I see myself always handling cases, doing something.
Okay.
But in terms of what success will look like, I guess we look at legacy. Okay. What will people say about Joe North? What did Joe North mean to his family, mean to the community, mean to his church?
Yeah.
You know, and however that question is answered, that's going to define success for me.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you kind of hit something that I like to talk about is the four phases of life, right? Which is struggle. That's when you don't have much and you're just trying to keep your head above water. Then you begin to strive. That means you're starting to hit your stride. You're making a few dollars, and now you're out of the struggle phase, but you're not there yet. Then success is when you've accomplished all of your goals. You've checked all the boxes, gone to school, gotten the career, made the money. But the most important phase of anybody's life is significance. So how do you help other people become what they need to become? So significance means that I go back and find someone who's in the struggling phase and walk them through to bring them up to me. Because there's an African proverb that says, when you've gone up the elevator, send it back down for the people waiting on the bottom floor.
Yes.
So if we can wrap up this episode, tell me 3 things you'd like to tell that young person who's looking to chart their path to success. 3 things you'd tell them, because I know you're loaded, but give me 3.
I would say number 1 is starting with what we talked about earlier on, and that is finding what it is that you love and doing that. Number 2,
passion. So passion.
That's a good word for it, passion. 2, stay at it every day. And what I mean by that is invest your time in terms of being in the office or on the work site, wherever you are going every day. Invest your time, but also always keep learning. You know, no matter what you're reading, make sure that somewhere in there you're reading something that has to do with your career.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, because leaders are readers, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
I read all the time, and not just on social media. But I'm always reading about the law, new concepts, new ways to take depositions, new ways to do an opening statement, new ways to do a closing statement, and have themes and cases. I'm always figuring out new things, and you get that by reading.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're a lifelong learner.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I hope you guys heard what Joe just said. It's finding your passion. Number 1, being intentional. So attaching discipline to your drive. Because a lot of leaders disassociate the relationship between discipline and success. And most people who are successful, if you look at them, they attach discipline to their skill. Like Michael Jordan shot 500 jump shots a day.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant, the late Kobe Bryant had that killer mentality. The people who show up and they put it on repeat, right? Because you're not celebrated openly if you didn't, prepare yourself privately.
That's great.
So having that intentionality. And then the last thing I heard you say was making sure that you are always improving. Because one thing that success has. Success is almost like that syrup that puts you to sleep, like that NyQuil. You got to keep wanting more and becoming better. Like I learn all the time. I'm always reading. I'm always learning from other leaders. I'm always accessing thought leaders. Why? Because I'm in the business of communicating. I'm in the business of teaching. And if I don't keep improving myself, I become boring and my voice become unimportant.
Can't have that.
And you can't have that.
Right.
I can't afford to fail at that. So if you're a business person, if you're a young person or an entrepreneur or business leader, I hope you heard what Mr. North just said, or Joe, that to stay in the game for 36 years, and then he's probably going to be in the game for another 30 years, 40 years. So you're going to be practicing when you're like 100?
Absolutely.
Well, listen, I am so excited that you were here. If somebody needs to get in touch with you to consult your law firm, give us the information. How can they reach the most successful law firm in Southwest Florida?
Well, if it's by telephone, our telephone number is 239-337-1191. And I also give out my cell phone number because sometimes you might need a lawyer in the middle of the night. So that cell phone number is 239-464-5740. And then, of course, you can find us on the internet at the northlawfirm.com.
Do you just practice here in Fort Myers, or are you?
Well, I say briefcase will travel. So we actually have cases.
I love that.
All over the country. Outside of Florida, I think most of our cases are in the Atlanta area because you get a lot of people who have moved from Fort Myers to Atlanta. And when they get in a car accident or what have you, they remember us and they'll call us.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we have a lot of cases out of Atlanta. We've got some cases out of Houston. We've had cases up north. So briefcase will travel, but most of our cases are right here in Southwest Florida, but we also have an office over in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So you have multiple locations.
Yes.
And I'm sure you're going to have a lot more with your son on board.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Listen, thank you for tuning into this episode of Growth Beyond Limits. I hope that you were stimulated. I hope that we position you to think that you can establish a business that is thriving, whether it be a law firm, whether it be a bakery, whether it be a barbershop, whether it be whatever it is that you're doing. Just remember, success always follows intentionality. And here on the Growth Beyond Limits podcast, our job is to help you understand that you can always go beyond what you think you're limited to. And for all the information about this show, to get the show notes, go to levelupoutcomes.com/Growth Beyond Limits podcast. And there you can get information about the North Law Firm, because we always want to post our guest information on our website and resources that you can get on how to continue to grow your business. Hey, share this episode with someone, and I'll see you on another episode of Growth Beyond Limits. Thank you for tuning into the Growth Beyond Limits podcast. To follow us for more episodes, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and all social media platforms. Also, to get downloadable PDFs, visit us at levelupoutcomes.com, levelupoutcomes.com. Growth Beyond Limits. Go where you need to be.